Content warning. This series contains all manner of edgelord content. It's all meant to be humorous comedy and none of it is a slight against others, but nevertheless, this is your warning that the Remembering Wesley episodes contain strong language, sex jokes, racial slurs, weight jokes, gender jokes, religious jokes, and on and on. Mature audience only, viewer discretion advised, blah blah, you know the deal.
Oh, and I got a Twitter. I want to tell all the listeners. Please follow me at WideWes. I wanted Wild West, but that was taken. So.
Yeah, this is way better. I think you made the right call.
The Wild West.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Remembering Wesley. And let me tell you, in this episode there is a lot of Wesley to remember. Like, I'm not saying he was fat. I'm just saying that his podcast audio channels were always labeled far left and far right. I'm saying whenever Wesley uploaded a selfie to Facebook, it took 6 days to compress the damn thing. I'm saying the cattle ranch wasn't his career, it was his Costco. I think the dude was eating a cow per week. But before we really get into the thick of it, I want to take a quick moment to also remember Wesley's unique taste in music. Because yes, when he wasn't consuming cows, he was consuming music. We only have a couple clips about music, so I figured we could squeeze them in. Here's what Wesley enjoyed listening to.
So I've always been a big fan of classical music. My parents both are really into classical music, and even after their divorce, I am, since then, going out on my own, I'm fond of classical music. Besides that, I don't really follow a lot of newer stuff, so there really hasn't been that much change.
Yeah.
So first of all, classical. I'd like to point out that both Brody and I have gone to Wesley first because Wesley is such an anomaly and a curiosity. What kind of classical? Because I like classical.
Oh my gosh.
All Wagner.
Wagner, Mozart. Earlier I was listening to Shostakovich. I'm a big fan of Shostakovich.
I like it. Shostakovich?
Yeah.
What's his best song or piece?
His best song. What's his most fire track?
Booties up, hose down.
Where's his mixtape at?
It's
off the top of my head.
What's your favorite music video by him?
Check out
Boats and
Waltz number 2. I would recommend that one. It's very short, but probably his most recognizable piece that I'm aware of.
That's what she said. Oh, yeah.
Sorry, tell me one more time.
It's Shostakovich Waltz number 2.
Waltz number 2. Okay. Make that the outro music.
It's like 4 minutes long and quite beautiful.
Did you say if you ventured out of classical at all?
A little bit. I really like City and Color, Adele. I have really strange taste variation with the little bit that I listen to that isn't classical. And I really like Amy Winehouse. I love Amy Winehouse.
Yeah, she's got a really good voice.
Yes. Wesley, how did you evolve? How did you get into those?
Just listening to music in my friends' cars or at school, and then listening to what Jennifer listens to.
Okay. That's your fiance?
Jennifer.
Yes.
Okay.
Fiance.
Invite her to the group.
We gotta have her on
Lord,
the show.
No. No, she'll look at my iPad. Like, what the hell are you doing on here? And she sees me giggling while scrolling through Facebook, and she just shakes her head disapprovingly. Idiot.
Oh man,
that's funny.
Another fun fact about Wesley and his music is the dude could play the violin.
I played the violin for about 8 years.
Whoa, for real?
Yes.
You have got to sound clip you saying "Whoa" for real.
Out of the left field, though. No one was expecting that.
You have a callus on your chin? Like...
No, not really. I have
8 years.
Fat chin. Yeah, my dad had all of his kids learn an instrument, so yep, I chose the violin. So it was mostly like, through elementary and high school. So
that's a good dad.
Yeah, he really loved music. I can. I'm not as good as I used to be. I haven't practiced in quite a while, but yeah, if I, got back into it, I think I could be okay at least.
That's awesome. You should learn how to play like the entire Requiem for a Dream soundtrack.
I haven't seen that, I guess.
That's my favorite thing about being a musician is when people come up and say, you should.
Yeah, I know. People say that to me, and I'm just like, you don't even know what the fuck I do. Like,
I mean, you explained what you did, and I still have no fucking clue.
You know the expression where people rub their fingers together and say they're playing the world's smallest violin? That actually originated from Wesley, because that's how small a violin looked compared to his massive form. Now, just so we're all clear on the matter, yeah, we laugh at fat jokes if they're not hurting the person they're directed at, and that's why we poke fun at Wesley, because he specifically requested, on more than one occasion, that we make more fat jokes for him. He really wasn't insulted. I guess when you're that size, the fat jokes just bounce right off of you. But yes, kids, if you're listening, don't run around poking fun at fat people. You're only allowed to make jokes at people's bodily expense if they're bald, or if they specifically request more fat jokes. All right,
so
cut it, print it. That's good. What are we rounding up?
I was gonna say the weird thing I do before we move on to whatever.
I definitely want to hear this.
Being Mormon.
Weighing 300 pounds.
Why don't you do fat jokes more often?
I'm trying.
Step it up. So, I
won't be able to do that in a little while, Wesley. Keep gaining weight like that, and you won't be stepping anywhere, boy.
He's all laughing, and there's a tear rolling down his cheek.
And a sandwich inserting into his mouth.
It wasn't a tear. It was just standing sweat. When you get large, you get that standing around sweat. Just happens out of nowhere.
Oh, it's a good thing I'm medicated because it's finally kicking in.
We got another one of those, right? Let's roll this other clip. We got to convince everyone that Wesley did ask for this. We're not the worst people in the world.
Yeah, dude, fat people are fucking the worst, man. They just never want to work out. They don't want to fucking eat right. Like, these motherfuckers just breathing all the skinny man's air.
It's true. We are awful.
Wesley, you know how you were saying there's not enough fat jokes in our group? Well, you haven't said it yet, but you're going to on Christmas Day because of our time capsule episode that we didn't make. Nobody knows about. So, what was I watching? I watched, it was a movie or a show or something. Oh, I remember. It was,
a porno!
It was not a porno. Some guy in the show had lost weight. Anyway, they showed a flashback to him, and he was in a fat suit. And I thought, fat suits are like the funniest prop you can even ever come up with. Like, they're so good.
You know what's funnier than a fat suit? Just fat people falling. Just naturally fat people fall. It's the funniest thing. And I mean, that happens to me, and I know it's funny.
Yes, Wesley was a big boy. He loved that country food.
and then she serves you. You guys eat thick cuts of beef with some potatoes on the side.
Hell yeah.
It was shortly after we began to make light of his weight that Wesley requested we start referring to him by the nickname of Freight Train, which we began to do, accompanied by his own theme song, Blazing Day by Cola. Song link is in the episode description.
Also, Alex, you didn't address me by my proper name, which is Freight Train or Mr. Train.
Sun comes up and rises high. It's so high, it's gonna make me cry.
I'm very sorry, Mr. Train. I'll keep that. I'll keep that in mind the next time I address you.
Could we make an exception for Senor Train and Monsieur Train?
Yes,
Mr.
that is
Train.
perfectly fine.
I think we should call him Je m'appelle Train.
Je m'appelle Train.
I'd like to point out that I just made a far better pun in the first 5 minutes of this podcast than Brian will make for the rest of his life.
And Tim is banned.
All right, let's get another one here.
Okay, here's the thing. Hell has internet,
Wait,
but it's just like it keeps on dropping out. Like every time you're almost like about to get something brought up that you want.
I would just like to point out, as Rabbi Shlomo, that we do not believe in hell here in this synagogue.
Not all of us.
Then why is it called a
subscribe to
synagogue?
that.
I already made that pun
Because
earlier.
it's derivative of ancient Hebrew. Duh.
I have made a worse pun than I will ever make in my life.
I really think one of you should mute Brian for that. I can't, but one of you should definitely do it. That was
Train
awful.
express his concern.
Listen. What's your concern?
Freight train! Sun comes up and rises high. It's so high, it's gonna make me cry.
I'm a big guy.
Freight train!
Wesley,
I'm a
if you're
big
going to be
guy.
called Freight Train, you definitely need to talk in your gangster voice.
Shut up, motherfucker.
Brian, can you stop stepping over Wesley at every time he tries to speak,
Freight
please?
train. God damn it.
Okay, so here's my concern. I'm a big guy, and if they have me in some damn box in the church, I don't know how easily I'll be able to finagle myself out of a tight box. You know? I might just tip the box all the way over on top of me. And that's
Ladies
just
and gentlemen,
messy.
when you get deep down in a tight box and you just can't get out, bring Elmer's lubricant with you. Elmer's gets you out of a tight box.
Let's get one more in here. Another clip.
Whoa. How dare you say I would join an Italian mob, alright? I'm gonna go to Boston, and I'm gonna join an Irish mob. Thank you very much.
Hey, you gonna go to Boston, Wes?
Damn it.
You really set yourself up for that one.
Wait. Who is this? Who is this on the show, everybody?
It's me, Mark Wahlberg.
Mark Wahlberg's on the show, everyone!
Can we get Christopher Walken?
No.
You could bring in Winnie the Pooh, though.
Woohoo! How are you boys tonight?
Winnie the Pooh, how would you rob a bank?
Oh, I would pistol whip that
bomb. I would blow up the honey machine. Honey machine? What the hell am I talking about?
Go on.
I should have said honey store. I don't know. I've lost it.
I can just picture Wesley getting into the escape helicopter and they're like, we can't take off. It's got to be you or the gold, Wes.
Oh, that was good. There's not a tear running down my cheek right now.
It might be sweat.
Those sitting sweats.
Whew, I've been sitting here a while. Whew.
Woo-wee.
Boy.
Got me a case of the vapors.
Alex would just own the bank.
That's racist.
Yeah. He'd pull some.
Yeah, Alex would
magic.
own the bank and just rob the people.
Yeah, sometimes we would forget that we already made a joke, and then we would do the bit all over again, thinking that it was fresh. Moving on. So, while one might assume that Wesley loved food so much that he would shovel in anything he could get, it was quite the contrary. He rarely ate out, and he was mostly interested in home cooking. And despite Arby's having the meats, he particularly disliked Arby's. Speaking of disappearing and going to the trash bin, I forgot to make this announcement. The Lost Context podcast Twitter is officially gone as of a few weeks back. Nobody really noticed.
Dude, you should have never brought that up. We should have always kept on plugging it, but then people would just never be able to find it.
That's why I wanted to bring it up, because I just realized I've been saying it in every single outro, like, and we have Chris posts funny things to the Twitter. No, he doesn't. Anyway, I have a question. We were we were in our group chat, and the topic of fast food came up, and we were talking about our favorites, and I happened to mention Arby's, and both Wesley and Alex kind of dogpiled on me saying Arby's is gross. I want to know, what the hell do you guys have against Arby's?
Dude, because Arby's is just trash. Like, it's not, they do everything, like, mildly okay, but they don't do one thing, like, well at all. Like, their sandwiches are just gross piles of, like, shit they put together, and, you know, like, it's not even like Wendy's where it's like, oh, this stuff is all okay, but they do the fries really good. Like, you know, they just, everything is so mediocre and thrown together, and if you like Arby's, you are a simpleton who should have your taste buds removed.
Well, my thing with Arby's is that, like, there are some things that are, like you said, they're okay, but fuck, are they overpriced for being okay?
That's fair.
Like an $8 or $9 sandwich that is just like, you know, it barely passes for grocery store deli meat, you know?
I feel like you've gotten their classics and you haven't been back in a while, because...
No, dude, I go there all the fucking time. I'm a fucking truck driver.
Dude, Brian's trying to, like, Arby-splain to you right now.
Yeah. The fuck out of here with that shit.
I just posted in the chat.
Excuse me, Chris. Actually, Arby's has gotten a new formula for their lunch meat beef, and it's a lot superior to the old formula.
You know, Arby's is actually Zagat rated now. The Arby's I go to has a nice Asian man that works there, and he really gets it done, you know.
Brian, you're being something right now, and it rhymes with Zagat, all right.
No, I mean, like, one that's definitely worse than Arby's, though, is Hardee's. Hardee's is the worst goddamn fast food place, and it suffers from kind of the same problem, to where, like, they are so massively overpriced. Who the fuck do they think they are? Like, their burger meat tastes like rubber. It's like, oh, it's so fucking awful.
The other thing is just, like, with Arby's and Hardee's and Carl's Jr. and all that, is just, like, they just try to shove stuff together that doesn't belong together.
Have you guys ever noticed, too, though, that they're always next to a Wendy's? And it's like, well, let me think about this for, no time at all, because if I have the option between basically anything and Wendy's, I'm going to fucking Wendy's, because it is superior to almost everything.
I strongly agree with that.
Wesley, why don't you like Arby's?
Because it's
overpriced, greasy crap.
Creepy. You've been looking at the roast beef too hard, dude.
if that sounds like something that you would associate with Blitter. Like you'd find these old Arby's boxes out in the street. It's all creepy.
I don't know. I surprisingly contradictory to what I look like. I'm not like a huge fast food fan. Like if I want a burger, I'll make it at home. Like
you want your food to slow down enough for you to catch it.
There's a nice family who's thinking about moving into the neighborhood, and it's like, so for a lower class area, they'd be like, oh, they have it registered on their records that they eat at Arby's, and they ate the whatever the double is or some shit, and so they're a big fan.
Yeah, like, hey mom, I'm going out on my bike. Well, okay, have fun, honey. Oh yeah, don't go on 3rd Street. The guy that eats at Arby's lives there. Make sure to go around on 4th.
Do you guys think that people that eat at Arby's should be allowed to vote?
I think we should actually reinstate the death penalty for people.
So this is not going to be a shining review after here. I'm trying to advocate for Arby's, and I'm about to tell this story. But I remember growing up, and especially in my teenage years, we used to do quizzing, and we'd go out to these different churches and out of town, so we'd always be eating at fast food restaurants. And it wasn't too uncommon for us to go to Arby's. And the most spoken comment about why people don't like Arby's was the fact that it reminds them of vomit. I don't know if it's the Worcestershire sauce or
that's fair,
or what it is, but there was something on the things that I was surprised how many of my friends said they didn't eat there because it reminded them of puke.
Worcestershire, what the fuck?
Worcestershire.
Worcestershire sauce is amazing, and if you insult it, I will insult something you love.
Well, see, Worcestershire sauce is great. The problem that the respondees had here was that the Worcestershire sauce was made by Arby's.
Okay, we all need to go around the table and say Worcestershire.
Oh,
Worcestershire. Worcestershire.
Worst Cheshire.
Worcestershire.
Yep.
Worcestershire.
That's how mumble rap was invented. They were just trying to say Worcestershire sauce.
Oh man.
It's Worcestershire sauce.
Worcestershire.
Easy.
Worcestershire.
No problem.
That sounds like the prequel that they made to The Hobbit or some shit. Like they made a prequel.
The Hobbit is the prequel.
That's what I'm saying. They made a prequel to The Hobbit. Like if they.
Yeah, that's called the Silmarillion.
To a prequel.
This is called the Silmarillion.
Listen, eventually we're gonna run out of so much content that we're gonna be doing prequels to prequels, and then fucking the prequel to the other prequel. Like, I mean,
that's what J.K. Rowling is doing with those Fantastic Beast movies, right?
Yeah.
She's just milking that train for all it's got.
Milk train!
Sun comes up and rises high. It's so hot, it's gonna make me cry. Oh, Lord.
So, I want to jump in here real quick and point out, while Wesley is no longer here to defend himself, he made fun of me for not being able to pronounce Worcestershire sauce, but then turns out Wesley couldn't even pronounce prestidigitation.
Chris, how many times can I cast prestidigitation?
Okay, let's get back to the fat jokes.
You better eat your PB&J and shut up. All right. You better just shut up.
Why does he have a Jewish mom?
Don't know. Is Brian not Jewish? I always thought he was.
Despite my big old nose, I'm actually not.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, I mean, we're some big nose having people on this podcast.
Actually, never mind. It's not a shame. I don't want Brian to be Jewish. I don't want him to be one of my. I probably have this. I bet I have the smallest nose on this podcast. Actually, I have a fairly small nose for a Jew.
I have a small nose too. I feel like.
I think it just looks small compared to everything else.
It can't put on weight like everything else on my face.
Holy shit! Can you imagine if weight would go straight to like your nose and your ears and stuff?
Oh, I don't know, man. I'm pretty sure that part of Wesley's nose has disappeared because, like, you can tell with how far set back his eyes are in the pictures that at least some has started to deposit in the cheekal area. And so there's a definite possibility that there is, there's a couple of millimeters of nose that could peak should he lose a few pounds.
There's a honker hidden in there.
There's a honker hidden in there.
Are we even really sure that Calvin is male? Maybe, like, it's a pseudonym and it's like throwing us off the trail.
Oh, interesting. So it's an FBI agentress. What's the female of agent?
Agent.
It wouldn't be Agent Trix.
No, what?
Remember in Mad Max Fury Road? What's her name?
Boy, I did not expect you to go there.
Are you talking about Furiosa?
Yeah, she's Imperatrix instead of an Imperator, right?
I didn't know that.
I mean, maybe that was.
I just thought she wanted to get to Gastown.
I don't know. We're getting into the weeds. Never mind.
I think, Wesley, you need to take the Mystery Science Theater 3000 theme song to heart and just realize it's a movie and you should probably relax.
I've never heard of Mystery Science Theater?
Oh, man, you've never had cable in the 90s, apparently, or Netflix now, but...
I mean, I have...
He's Mormon. He's heard of neither mysteries nor science nor theaters.
Now the number 3000, though, Wesley's familiar with that.
Every time he steps on the scale.
That's what I was driving at. Thanks, Brian, for spiking that one home.
So, we'll get into the deets of Wesley's family life in an upcoming episode. But at some point, Wes told us that he got married and that his wife was pregnant. So that's the context you'll need for this clip.
So how far along are you, Wes? How far along is you and the old lady?
How far what?
How long are you and your
The first time
wife?
I saw a picture of Wes, I was wondering the same thing.
Oh, I'm about 7 years along, probably, at this point.
Ooh, lad, that's a big baby.
Yeah.
Well, we heard you were talking about sports, so we knew that, we're the experts in all this, so this conversation would really be lesser without us.
Yeah. We were talking about the AAF, which is a new football league that is starting up. And one of the reasons I want to talk about it actually was that Salt Lake City has a team, so I think Wesley could start getting into football if he would start watching this team.
A wide receiver?
No,
He would definitely be the widest receiver in the league, that's for sure.
He's built more like a D tackle. That's
One of the side effects of Wesley being such a big boy is that there were some incidents. We'll get into his haystack injury in a later episode, but let's just say at some point he eventually ended up walking with a cane.
John Kardashian, or man, I really
Alex,
fucked that
can
up.
you set me up for one?
here's a celebrity that I want to die.
That's where a slide whistle should have been.
Damn it, Brian.
I gotta
Just
have that
let
on
me
there.
have one.
Okay, Alex, do it again.
No. We gotta do it again, Brian. Shut up. You fucked it up.
Brian, you're out of your element.
Here's a celebrity that I want to die.
Dick Van Dyke. Because he's like 90 and he's far too active for his age. It's just it's not natural.
Wesley's just salty because he has to walk with a cane and Dick Van Dyke can still tap dance.
100%.
This particular Cain is not to be confused with Michael Caine, who was banging Wesley's mother. I believe this Cain was primarily due to the aforementioned haystack injury where he busted his leg, but I sure don't think his large size helped him in trying to get around afterwards. I'm sure that made the cane all the more of a necessity. And a side effect of all these things was that Wesley was also a clumsy boy.
For some reason, they wanted a photo of my driver's license before they were going to let me back in. I'm like, I'm not doing that.
What do you guys think of the video platform Facebook? Oh God, no! Oh, my microphone just tipped. Oh, that's not good.
Well, we hear you better now than we ever have since you joined us.
All right, roll electronics.
So, because I don't have it and I already get a -2 penalty, does that mean it's a -4?
Yep. So you better ace.
And it says that if I critically fail, then it breaks.
Yep. So don't roll snake eyes.
Oh, fuck. I have been dropping my dice like Wesley today. I swear, man, he was always dropping his mic or knocking shit over. One time he leaned on his table, tipped the whole thing over, and his laptop fell off, hit the floor, and broke. And that's when he ended up getting a mobile recorder for the podcast, since he couldn't record on his laptop anymore. Ah, memories. Well, that's all we have for today's episode. I would just like to end on one more clip. No, I'll go with that, Sean. The very first episode of 2019. Let's end on a freight train. Everybody together now. Freight train! Freight train! When we come back, we'll be talking about Wesley's family. Have a good night, folks.